Back in June, Owlcat Games surprised us all by announcing they were working on Expanse Osiris Reborn, a third-person action RPG set in the Expanse universe. And the cinematic trailer and gameplay drew immediate comparisons to Mass Effect. And this comparison seems to be purely intentional. In a recent interview with Polygon, the game's creative director Alexander Mishulin talks about the comparison as well as gives a few more details about the game. The article is a couple of weeks old now, but I thought we would talk about it anyway, just in case you missed it. So addressing all those comparisons to Mass Effect, Mishulin says, "We feel humbled by the comparison. Mass Effect is a great inspiration for us because it's an iconic game for the Xbox 360 generation, and a lot of Owlcat team members played it in their youth. We're inspired by it. Some people got into the industry of making games because they saw Mass Effect, and were inspired and decided for themselves that they want to do something similar or just make games as a living. So it would be impossible to deny that Mass Effect has had a lot of impact on us as game developers." That being said, Mishulin emphasized that Osiris Reborn is not simply a Mass Effect clone. It is, at heart, an Owlcat game. And the studio will be taking a different approach, especially when it comes to the game's storyline. He says, "First of all, we make our story a little bit differently. We're making more choices and consequences, and we want to make sure that this game still has a lot of them, provided with a lot of agency." He goes on to say that players won't simply be stuck with binary choices to be a goody-two-shoes or complete sociopath. I've been playing Rogue Trader lately just to get a feel for Owlcat's writing, and I can say that game is chock full of nuanced choices. However, Rogue Trader is a CRPG with a very heavy narrative element. I've seen it compared to a novel, and rightly so. And that kind of game with that much writing allows for a lot more nuance in choices and consequences. And it remains to be seen how that formula will translate to a third-person action RPG with a voiced protagonist like Osiris Reborn. When BioWare made this transition, we certainly saw a great reduction in dialogue options available to the player, as well as the range of consequences that we could see play out in the game. I'm not saying Owlcat can't or won't be able to do this, but it is likely that some compromise in this area will have to be made. Still, Mishulin says that nuance is important to the team and that player choice will have varying outcomes, especially when it comes to companions. He gives as an example the player background. Now you can choose this at the beginning of the game, and your choices are Belter, Earther, or Martian. And this choice will affect how companion characters as well as other NPCs treat you. Mishulin says if you happen to be playing a character of Mars origin or Earth origin, you will not be very welcomed on Ceres, because Ceres is a Belter world and they don't appreciate Martians or Earthers there. And an incident from the book and the TV show has made this even worse. But if you will be playing a character of Belter origin, you will be much more welcomed, and you will have more opportunities, more places to visit, probably some new side quests and everything. But on the other hand, if you are of another origin, there will be other opportunities and other places for you. Man, I'm really hoping this is something they can pull off. Mass Effect did a little bit with Shepard's background, but ultimately it didn't have a lot of impact. It was more than we got in Cyberpunk, but still it was mostly just flavor, which is fine. Now I'm not expecting something like Dragon Age Origins, but it's always fun when your background has a bigger effect on how things play out, and what Mishulin is describing sounds really cool. Speaking of other characters, the player's twin sibling will also be aboard your ship. And they might not agree with all of your choices. Now, the article here makes a comparison to Mass Effect Andromeda, but I'm hoping Owlcat can pull this off a little better, as in Andromeda, your sibling doesn't play a very large part because for most of the game, they're in a coma. So I'm hoping that in Osiris Reborn, our twins will be available for most of the game and will play a much bigger part. Apart from your sibling, there will also be other companion characters, and Mishulin confirms that many of them will be romanceable. Now, if all of this is still sounding very Mass Effect-y to you, Mishulin concludes the interview by putting a little distance between the two games. He says, Mass Effect is a great game that was released quite a long time ago, and the games industry now is a little bit different. Other systems were introduced, and players are now accustomed to a lot more convenient user interfaces, convenient approaches to the gameplay, and we're doing that. Not like modernizing Mass Effect, but just making a game in the same genre with all the modern trappings. He doesn't give any examples of what he's talking about here, but as a PC player, I'm just hoping for full mouse and keyboard support. But let us know what you think. If you're a Mass Effect fan, do you like what you're hearing? Do you think this game is going to scratch that itch while you wait for Mass Effect 5? If you're an Expanse fan, does this game sound like a worthy entry into the canon? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, why not like and subscribe for more content like this? As always, thanks for watching.